Hi, my name is Fernando Flores, and I'm continuing this quest about hospital malpractices with the clarification number 3. Here I am in the park in San Francisco, like enjoying this beautiful morning. It's very nice. And this is one of my favorite places, to come and relax, and recover. Uh, So I'm very happy to do clarification number 3. Ready? Number 3. Okay. Now we're here at a park. Okay. We're here at one of the most beautiful parks in the city. See, it's got a basketball court. It's got tennis court. It's got a place you can barbecue. There is plenty of room, and it's nice. You can see the whole city. Downtown San Francisco. Okay. Now, when it comes about issues in the park, okay, parks in San Francisco, in anywhere in the U.S. and anywhere in the world, only federal authorities got jurisdiction over it, and there is a reason why, okay. And I have to make sure and clarify and make it clear, that some of the issues that they arise out of this whole situation took place in parks, in the city, okay. I've been cleaning water fountains all throughout the city. I've been doing about a total of 20 parks and 20 different water fountains. I clean them, disinfect it, and buff them out so the paint will last longer, and my and our investment, because I pay taxes for a long time, is there and will last a long time, so we don't have to spend money on buying another one or getting another one installed, so I've been maintaining them to make sure they last longer, and we use the money for something else, something more productive, right? So last time I got arrested near Broadway in the Burlingame area in San Mateo County. There was an issue, I was using a water fountain, okay. I'm an ecologist and environmentalist. That's why I'm doing it, because that's the water source in case of a natural disaster, okay. In case of a natural disaster, our life is depending on those water fountains, so it wasn't my intentions really to make it dirty, to pass on any sickness or any illness, or any diseases, It's simply that I've been using water fountains, and as I use them, when I leave, I make sure they're nice, neat, clean, and disinfected, So I guess for the people in San Mateo County, they had no idea, They thought I was just making, their water fountain dirty, and little kids are there, and they were gonna drink it out of the water out of the fountain, and they were gonna get sick. My intentions was to make people sick as a way to revenge what happened to me, or that are really careless, and reckless, not at all. Not at all. I've been doing a little work, only a little bit, not much, but it's something, to, maintain parks, because it's a place where the rest of the city and the rest of the sidewalks in the city is prohibited, and it's illegal now to lay down or to set up a tent or to really relax in the sidewalks. Right now, you can't. You go to jail, you get arrested if you do that. Now, if California passed on that law for San Francisco, it's more important to have these parks available for anybody that don't have a place so they can clean themselves, relax and rest, because you cannot do it in any public sidewalk in the whole city. This is the only place that homeless got a place and the chance to clean up themselves, sleep, rest, relax, so they have enough energy, and they can move on and try to make an effort to get out of the situation of being homeless. Okay, so a lot of people, don't have the perception of that. They don't really measure, or they don't really know, or they don't really understand, why it's so important to keep these parks available for everybody, regardless if the person lives around the area or not. People without a place, without a room, don't have access to water or a place not even to rest or sleep. This is the only place to relax and sleep during daytime. So, and my purpose of this video is to clarify that I've been coming to these parks and a lot of other parks all over the city, to find that exactly. If it wasn't for the parks in the city, and that I found places, in parks, so I relax, and I clean myself, so that's why I put a little effort, sacrifice. I help the parks up, cleaning the fountains, that's the least I can do, I wouldn't be alive today. Okay, so now, when people look at the homeless, like me, they don't hesitate to call the police because they stereotype. They consider homeless to be destroying things, to be reckless, to make the place dirty, etc., etc. We can't really assume that every person is the same. We can't really stereotype on homeless, because some homeless, yes, they're reckless, I understand, but some people, that got to be homeless like me, are completely normal, like. In my place, in the room I'm staying, you can see that I'm a neat, very clean person, spotless clean, So when I come to the parks, like automatically, because that's how I am, I clean and make sure it's clean, because that's how I am, I'm a clean person, regardless if I'm homeless or not. Okay. Now, people assume, I'm a troublemaker, which I am, right? But I'm a clean person, okay? And call the police on me, okay? Now, the police officers, they have to attend the call. They have no options, because somebody called them, right? And I have issues, and that's one of the reasons, I got shot with rubber bullets, because somebody called them, and I was just trying to sleep, because I didn't have no place, right? So it's not really the people or the person who pulled the trigger, It's because somebody, thought I was a troublemaker, and called them, And once you get the call, they have to attend. That's their job, okay? So now, this is a park, that didn't happen in a park. Okay. Now, it is very important to people to understand, only federal authorities have jurisdiction over parks. There is a reason why. Okay, these places, it's so nice, only at daytime, Throughout U.S. history, parks in the USA have been places where a lot of homicides, a lot of crimes, heavy crimes have occurred and took place, Many of serial killers in San Francisco history used the parks to get rid of bodies. So, local authorities don't have enough resources, enough experience, and enough technology, and enough equipment to investigate regular authorities, like the police department of San Francisco, they really can't do nothing about it. Because in order for, let's say, a serial killer to be found or to find out who it is, we gotta use the best of their knowledge, the technology, the equipment, and the expertise, of the federal government. That's why the federals come into place, So it means that the park, if it's not something serious, like a serial killer, a homicide, something like that, people should never call the police. What they're gonna do is act out of jurisdiction and act illegally, and it might bring more troubles, It gives people an opportunity to get the money compensation in the civil court, out of the illegal, things or issue, because it is illegal for the police to arrest or do anything in a jurisdiction where only the federal authorities got jurisdiction. So anyway, in my personal case, I'm not gonna sue nobody. My purpose in these videos are far from really getting any monetary compensation of this, but to make people understand and to make sure, obviously, and common sense and logic, if somebody is tired here and is homeless, leave him alone, okay? Leave him alone, okay? The person has the right to survive and to rest, It doesn't have a place like the most people that live around the area. So they're out of luck, so they need this place, so they can survive, continue, and move on with their lives, okay? But separate from that, only federal authorities got jurisdiction in this park, in any park over the whole United States, through the park ranger, okay? So now, if they call the park ranger because an issue with somebody and it needs backup, then the park ranger can call local authorities and local officers, to support the park ranger, but never by themselves. And because there is a lot of cases and a lot of crimes and a lot of issues, in parks historically that require federal authorities because they have the techniques and they have the technology and they have the experience and they have the equipment for it. The local authorities don't, okay? Thank you very much.